Stars shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper, I love you. Birds singing in the sycamore tree. Dream a little dream of me. Welcome kindreds, it's Jessica the Story Witch, and I'm going to do a tarot tag in this video. The tag is called You as a Reader, and it was actually started by Black Cat Tarot, who didn't start it as a tag, but then Christine and Celeste channel made it into a tag. I didn't actually see it there either. I actually saw Joanne at Sacred Space Japan doing this first, and I've seen a couple of other people doing it since as well, which I just thought it was a really cool tag, kind of fun and easy going. So yeah, so I thought I'd jump on and have a go. That's one of the things I love about this whole tarot community, is that these tags just kind of fly around the place and you can just jump on board and get on with doing them. So I'll link obviously all of those down below, and I'll put the questions down below as well. It's just 6 questions and it's about you as a reader, obviously. Hence the tag. I thought I would use the Good Tarot to do this. This is quite new to me. Sorry, the light is a bit haphazard today. So I bought this recently when there was quite a big sale on Hay House decks, and yeah, basically I thought I might like it, and I do kind of like it. It is not, you know, as you would expect, being called the Good Tarot. It has kind of spun the cards that are sometimes seen as a little bit more negative to be a more kind of hopeful and positive slant. So some of them I could very much get on board with, because that's kind of the way that I read them anyway, you know, like cards like death and things like that, they've renamed and reconfigured in the way that we do, you know, when you're reading, that you read them as a more kind of, you know, there has to be death for there to be rebirth. So calling it the Good Tarot, I think in a way I would have preferred to have had it called the Hope Tarot, because that's it's always kind of, it's looking for the silver lining on all of the cards. So I haven't actually read with this yet. I've gone through and you know, and had a look at the imagery, and I'm throwing the cards everywhere now as well. And yeah, just basically gone through, but I haven't actually read with it yet. So this will be the first time. So that's kind of cool. And I've spoken about this before. I don't usually read for other people with decks first of all, but because this is actually reading for myself, it feels fine. And I'm actually really loving doing these like on camera readings. It gives me a little bit of a buzz, so weird, I know, but it is fun. It's kind of like you have to think quickly and you know, really kind of hook into those meanings really quickly, and that is, yeah, I like it. It's good fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish shuffling, and then I'm going to lay all 6 cards out but face down, so that I'm not seeing them as a whole. I know different people like to do these different ways, and some people like to see the overall spread. I like to look at the overall spread, definitely, you know, in the context of the spread, but I think for this, with the 6 quite clear positions, I'd rather have them revealed to me one at a time, and then I can kind of look at the spread as an overall at the end. So we'll see how that works out. So I've done a good shuffle. I'm going to lay out the cards. I almost flipped it then, even though I said I was going to lay them face down. I didn't. I have laid them face down. Just have it. Okay. So I've got all my 6 cards. Let's see. So the first question is, who am I as a reader? Oh, my hair's gone a bit crazy now as well. Showered this morning, so it's a little bit fluffy. Okay, so who am I as a reader? Okay, so 10 of Fire. Now, that actually feels quite good for me as a card. I think I see this as being very sort of like a positive, but like I said, all of the cards in this deck have been spun into a kind of positive way. But can you see how she is kind of burning up these things? It looks like little pieces of music, little pieces of writing and stuff. It's almost like, obviously as a 10, it is very much like an end of a cycle, and I feel like people do very much come to me for these readings, you know, I'm sure most readers find this as well, is that people come when they are at that place of being near the end of a cycle and almost ready to kind of start something new. You know, they just kind of about to go into the cocoon, ready for the next transformation, and they just want a little bit of guidance. And the fact that it's fire, Did I say fire or did I say wands? It's just too automatic. So yeah, 10 of fire, not 10 of wands. But that suit being for me very much about kind of career, life path stuff, you know. So obviously the majors play into that as well, but I do find for me this suit very much reads often for people who are on a kind of creative path, on an entrepreneurial type path, and those are the sort of readings that I really love to do. So I'm quite happy to see that me as a reader is hopefully somebody who doesn't burn up people's hopes and dreams but somebody who kind of is there to help people see that from the ashes of those things there's a whole new exciting cycle. Their life is ready to go in a whole new direction. Okay, so number 2 is, what is my most important characteristic as a reader? Whoa, I did not expect to see that here. Okay, so this is King of Water. Wow, so my most important characteristic as a reader, I was expecting something like Queen of Swords or something like that. Definitely not King of Cups. How strange. Okay, so I'm seeing then that my most important characteristic as a reader is that I have that kind of level of emotional maturity and care and compassion for the people that I'm reading for, and I can guide them through it and tell them things in a way that, although truthful, is not going to make them feel disempowered or more concerned than they already are. So I can kind of tune in to their feelings, and I can help to you know, to express the reading in a way that is going to be empowering to them, and that they can understand emotionally, because there's no point in kind of telling people all this stuff if they can't actually hook into it and use it. I mean, what's the point in having a reading if you can't use it? There's no point. So yeah, so wow, I did not expect that card. Okay, so it's turning out very interesting. Number 3, what weaknesses do I feel I have? Okay. So immediately what's coming into my mind is that I hate being the bearer of bad news. And I think my weaknesses is perhaps that I, very much like this deck, do always try and put a positive spin on things. And I don't necessarily think that that is a bad thing, but that it does lead me sometimes in readings to kind of play down some of the stuff which, if I was a little bit more, not brutal, you know, with that King of Cups being my strength, you know, I wouldn't be brutal about it, but I definitely tend to highlight, you know, to kind of put into the sun, to shine those good things in the reading, the kind of positive things, and sometimes I do kind of play down the more negative aspects, when actually it would be more useful for the querent to have it kind of nuts and bolts, said in a very kind way, but yeah, not kind of spun to the sun. Yeah, okay. And then the next card is very much related to that. It is how can I overcome this weakness? So another king. Wow, okay. So I can overcome it by being more practical, more balanced, more grounded, not letting my emotions and my feelings and hope kind of get in the way of actually what the cards are telling me. So I need to realize that even though as a king you're kind of like in charge of people and you are guiding them, you are not responsible. You know, you kind of are responsible for them, you're not responsible for their actions as such. You know, you can kind of inspire and you can give them the information, but you don't, you know, you can't do it for them. Yeah, there's probably more there. I'm feeling like there's definitely more there. And as always, when I do these kind of live readings, which I've done a couple of now, if you have different interpretations or extra interpretations, then I always like to know. So do let me know down below. Okay, so 2 kings already. Wow, okay. And we've got the 10. This is looking really fiery apart from that water. Well, yeah, okay, weird. And 10. Yeah, lots of like end of cycle type stuff as well. The kings, the 10, the sun, you know, with the 19. Interesting. Okay, so why did tarot, so this kind of goes off in a slightly different direction now. Why did tarot come into my life when it did? Now, tarot came into my life. I've been interested in tarot for a very long time, and I know I've talked about this before. I actually wanted to buy the Mythic Tarot deck when I was, I think, 14, and I saw it in a shop, and I didn't buy it because I still believe that bullshit that you shouldn't buy your own deck. So I didn't, and then many years later, in like the early 2000s, I can't remember exactly when, my wonderful sister bought me a tarot deck, and she gifted it to me, and she was like, just start reading this blinking thing already, you know. So, and at that time I was very much like these little fish, torn in, you know, I was going off in 2 different directions. I was working as a teacher, a primary school teacher, which was lovely, and I loved working with the children and stuff, but there was so much kind of bullshit that went along with it as well, like trying to get these kids to jump through hoops that they just weren't, it just wasn't the right thing for me, you know. I'm not that sort of, I find it hard to fit into that kind of system. And so I had started to train, as I did Reiki training, and you know, I worked through my Reiki degrees, and I also learned reflexology and a few other holistic therapies and things as well. And I actually started to, you know, tarot came into my life the same time as I was starting to focus on these, and it was when I wasn't quite sure which direction, you know. It was a big deal to kind of quit my teaching job and take that leap of faith, you know, take that fool's leap into something which at that present moment in time wasn't able to kind of give me the financial income that I needed or wanted. So so yeah, it was really useful for me come in at that point in time, because it helped me make some decisions and focus. It also helped me realise that despite the fact that 2s always kind of show up as that kind of binary, it's like an either or, it wasn't actually an either or, and I was able to combine the teaching with working as a therapist for a while by doing a couple of days of teaching, a couple of days of therapy, until I could build up my practice. So yeah, that's really kind of cool how that's shown up as that. Yeah, I love that. And the final card is, what key lesson has tarot taught me? Now, I feel like tarot is like teaching me lessons every day. So I'm quite intrigued to know, what is the key lesson that tarot... Yeah. Okay. So the key lesson that tarot has taught me is that I have all of the tools at my disposal, that I'm able to work with the elements, you know. I can assert my will when I want to. I can make things happen. And tarot has kind of forced me to realise that, because sometimes it can be quite, you know, when you don't feel powerful, it does also take the responsibility away from you. So you can kind of say, oh well, you know, I just couldn't do that because I just wasn't in the right position to be able to do that and stuff. Whereas when you realise your own power, which the way I read tarot is very much kind of ties into that. It's not like a kind of disempowering thing, it is a very empowering thing. You know, when you have power though, and you realise that, it comes along with a lot of responsibility. It's like Yoda who says that. With great power comes great responsibility. I know, it was somebody cool. So yeah, that is a brilliant key lesson. And yeah, if looking at the spread, I can't easily turn the camera around now because I've got it clipped in. But if I show you the top line of the reading here, a lot of kind of 10s, and then obviously the Magician being a 1 at the end there is interesting to me. Can you actually see that? Yeah, okay. So I had 2 majors, on the ends of each of the rows, but that was kind of arbitrary because of the way I just laid them out, but obviously not really arbitrary. Yeah, 2 and then a 1 with the magician. So that was kind of like my personal journey and then who I am as a reader. So I find that really interesting, and I'm going to make I'll take a photograph and everything of the cards and make a note of what I've said here as well in my journal. But yeah, if you've got anything else to add, love that. Yeah. Then please do let me know down below. And like I said, I'll link all the questions and things if you haven't done this spread yet. I'm a little bit slow jumping on them, as I always am, so lots of people will have done it already by the time I've uploaded it for sure. But yeah, I look forward to seeing. Let me know as well if you're doing it so I can come over and watch your video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Warmest blessings, and I will see you very soon. Da, 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 da.